Weddings-ish, 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 with Jove.
Well, hello, and thank you so much for tuning in to Weddings-ish with Jove, a podcast all about love, joy, and weddings-ish with a special guest each episode. For this episode, I'm beyond excited to be sitting down with the extraordinary, iconic, kind, talented, legendary wedding planner, Mindy Weiss. How the heck are you doing?
I am doing great, and I'm excited to see you. I haven't seen you forever.
It's been years. I was trying to think of how we first met, and I think it was at Engage in the Bahamas.
Yes.
I was a speaker. I was speaking to some people after my panel, and then it was lunch. I went into the lunchroom, and every single seat was full except the seat next to you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up sitting next to you, and I think that's how we met.
You know why? Because people think I'm something I'm not,
Got
and
it.
they're kind of afraid of me,
Intimidated?
and I'm thinking, why? And then when they meet me, they're so confused.
Yes, because you're not that way at all. You were so kind and so
God.
sweet. And so
Thank
that was,
you.
5 or 6 years ago, I was thinking. So you're a California girly, born and raised?
Born and raised.
Yeah, here in LA or where? LA proper?
About 15 minutes from here, where we are today in West Hollywood. And this is where my heart belongs.
Yeah, I love it.
I love LA.
And you went to school in San Diego?
I went to college, San Diego State. Actually graduated from Northridge. I came home after 4 years when I realized I wasn't going to graduate unless I was a party girl. I was the social chairman of my sorority.
Wait, you were a party girl. Oh, you were a sorority girl.
Yes.
Wow, so you're a good time girl. You had fun.
Yes, I did.
What did you study in college?
Communications, of course.
Great.
Radio, television, and film.
Oh,
and
really?
I thought I'd be a producer.
Okay.
So
and in some ways, you are.
I think so. It just came, and being social chairman, you know, it was all in there. But that, I just wanted to really be a mom and wife and
that
all
was the first dream.
Yes.
Did you know that from a young age, or?
I always knew I was going to, have kids and get married. And, I had a fantasy. I was going to wear an apron, but a really pretty one.
A designer apron.
Or vintage.
Okay.
But you know how those dreams go.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
So then you graduated college, and what happened? What was your first job?
I met my first husband very young.
Okay.
And he was in the produce business.
Oh.
So,
for grocery stores or for?
No, for all.
For all, okay.
He was the mushroom man, which now would be meaning
100%.
something totally
yes,
different.
He'd make a lot more money.
But he brought in all the exotic mushrooms.
Oh, interesting.
But had full produce. But he went to work at midnight.
Okay.
So it was hard if I got,
Yeah, he worked a night shift.
Yeah. So I had to get just a kind of part-time job just so that we could
spend time together.
Exactly. So I was a paperholic.
Okay.
And I got a job in a little stationery store in Beverly Hills, the cutest, most wonderful.
Like selling thank you cards and
all,
personal stationery.
Then it was all the books.
Yep.
You picked out your invitations, and I would do all the styling on
Amazing.
the shelves. And that's where I met my very, very best friend.
Okay. Which is?
Janice.
Okay.
Janice Gernick, my soulmate.
They came in as a client or they worked there?
No, she was the boss.
Oh, she was the owner.
And
I love it.
she tells the funniest stories. Back then for all the engraving books, we would store the dies that they needed when they did engraving, which is kind of a dying art now,
it is,
unfortunately. And I went in there and I reorganized
all
alphabet.
Of it.
She tells the funniest stories.
And you actually made the stationery there, or you placed the orders in the store?
Them.
Okay,
we would look and order them, but that's where actually it's a good story that you brought, because that's where I met Kris Kardashian and
at that stationery store. And
store.
what year was that?
That had to be like 82.
1982.
Yeah.
So before
about
any TV really for anyone
82.
at that time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
And Kris was coming in just for stationery.
Just as, she would have, she kept coming in for baby announcements.
Got it, yeah. They had a few of those.
Yeah. I did the first 4.
Okay.
And then they moved to the Valley, and but she gave great parties, and she was still a party girl. She loved to entertain.
Yeah, and that was the beginning of that relationship.
Yeah, actually, we also did her wedding invitations to Robert Kardashian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we did.
Which was her first
husband.
First husband.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And
wow,
interesting. And she's still friends with all the ladies that would all come in.
Is that store still around or no?
It's not around in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I'm not sure where. They used to have a lot of franchises.
Yeah. And so then from there, I understand you were like forced into wedding planning. Not forced, but convinced, like people were.
Well,
how did that transition?
I did. We left, my best friend and I left there. We both got pregnant.
Okay.
And we worked out of my house.
From Mr. Mushroom Man.
From Mr. Mushroom Man.
Okay, great.
And what was funny is her husband's father was in the produce business, so they all knew each other. It was very,
small world.
Incestual. And,
LA produce.
Yes. But from doing people's invitations and stationery, they started asking me to do their parties, which I was not interested in.
Got it.
Because a lot of event planners who came to me for invitations weren't that nice. And they were tired all the time.
Yes.
And they were
it's not a life you
very
wanted.
nervous.
Yes.
And they worked on the weekends.
Yes. All the things you did not
All
want.
the things I'm going, ew.
That's not the fantasy of a mom in a vintage
how
apron
do you
with children.
do that?
Yes. Yes.
But I did do my first party, and the bug was planted.
Okay.
And
was it a wedding, a birthday, a baby shower?
It was actually an 85th birthday party.
Okay.
It was 75 or 85, I can't remember. And from that one party, I got like 10 parties.
Wow.
It was like, really?
Yeah.
But my parents gave the best parties.
Okay.
Like creative, ridiculous, a little racy.
Yep.
And
everyone wants a little fun at a party,
oh
a little
my God.
spice.
And my sisters and I would watch from our staircase down at all these
all
parties.
the guests and
so
everything.
So it was in me.
Yeah, it was in your DNA.
I just didn't know it was going to come out this way.
Yeah, that it would be your life, your legacy.
Knew. I never planned on it. I just didn't know.
So you did the milestone party, and what part of it did you love? And this is also, what year is this now? This is in the late 80s?
This is early 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah, so
parties back then are...
80, wait, did I have a kid? I may have had a kid by then. So probably 84, 85.
Okay. So 1985, I was born. You did your first party.
There you go.
I love this.
There
this
you
is
go.
my
It's
favorite.
been a long time.
Was it at their home or at a venue?
It was at a venue.
At a venue.
Yes, a country club.
Okay, beautiful. And what part of it, I mean, I remember my first event, you're just guessing everything. You're organized,
I faked
you have ideas.
it all. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I hired this balloon lady.
Okay.
And she kind of guided me, like, you need to do this. I go, really?
Yeah.
And then, at country clubs, there's lots of rules.
Yes, they're very specific.
And plus, it was just a great clique of guest list.
Yes,
it was the
there.
guest list that you wanted.
Your first event to be.
But who knew? I just knew everybody.
Sure.
Hey, and they're all going, you're doing the part, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then...
I love that.
Then it happened. And my best friend did not go into the party world.
Got it. She said
she
no,
was
ma'am.
much smarter than us. But we still do invitations
together
to this day. It's called Jam.
Amazing.
Janice and Mindy.
I love it. Together, like collaborative for people who want invitations.
Just out of the books, which are very few left now.
Yeah. But there's something really beautiful about that. And I think there's a renaissance of like what's old is becoming new again.
Absolutely.
In weddings. Like the trends, like the 80s are back. 70s, 80s in like a big way.
Big way.
I kind of love that.
Yeah, round tables.
Yes.
Right?
Who knew?
Like, who knew?
Yes. Old school chairs.
Yes.
I'm like, what's happening right now? Like,
who knew
chair covers.
Shivaris would be chic again. Oh, my goodness.
I totally agree.
It's so funny if I post a picture that has Shivaris in it. Literally, the comments are Shivaris? Question mark?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I go, yeah, really.
You're like, they're coming back.
They're there.
People love them. They're classic.
Yes.
So then that's in the mid 80s. And then when did you formally found the business, leave stationery, like create the company?
Well, I got kicked out of working out of my house from the neighbors and the building.
They just didn't like all the
It wasn't like
movement.
now where you can work
from
out.
home.
You
Sure.
can work from home. Yeah,
Sure.
they were not. I mean, I had some important people walking up my driveway.
Got it.
It was crazy.
I see. And they were just tired of that.
Yes.
Okay.
And the parking and all that. Which, you know what? I got it.
Yeah.
I couldn't bribe the guy with more produce. He had a lot of produce.
He was full.
He was done with the potatoes.
I love this.
So then we moved in an office in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
And that's where it got serious.
Got it.
And a little more serious clients came in. It was very interesting how, you have an office now.
I was going to say, because was the office your base? Like, a lot of planners don't have a physical space and in such an iconic neighborhood. But for you, that was the right move. Like, that was a magnet.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had to have, back then I didn't even think of having a little office in a big building.
Sure.
It was
a main floor office.
Yeah, it wasn't a big building, but it was a real structured office.
Yeah.
And I actually shared it with the videographer. So it was we had a grand opening.
Yeah, a little party.
But who knew what was going to happen from there?
Of course.
And I think the first serious client was Brooke Shields.
Which is wild to me.
Wild.
Because you started, I think, in 93, and then she came in 97? Mm-hmm. Something like that?
Yeah, we dabbled before 93,
in
but
85,
it became,
you were saying, for these parties.
We were doing here and there. But seriously, it was probably 93 when we...
Like, we're officially full-time in.
And
Yeah, and then...
When I knew I was in trouble.
Yes, when you just kept going.
Yeah.
You didn't look back. And then 4 years into your business, Brooke Shields walks in.
Yes.
And gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous today, but then also, like,
and it
gorgeous.
was her assistant. She didn't know who I was or anything.
Got it.
I wasn't, I was a wedding planner,
Yeah.
Came in with her box of things she's always collected. Oh, exactly what you would think.
Because at that time, there's no internet, there's no Pinterest,
Nothing.
there's no Instagram.
Just
it's magazines and books.
And they tore out
the
things from,
pages.
And that was, I loved to sit down. She sat down on the floor. I'll never forget. And with any sort of celebrity situation, it's so exciting at the beginning. But then the next meeting's a normal. You're like, oh, this is so cool. And
100%.
then, okay.
It's an everyday person.
Yes.
They want food, drinks, flowers. They want all the things.
It's the same process, except for a little security.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's
the same.
It's pretty much the same.
But for that wedding, you learned a pretty important thing about paparazzi in a creative way, I understand.
Oh, I had no clue.
Yeah.
I was so naive to all, and she had major security, or maybe it was, I can't remember, but they had major security. And the security came up to me and says, you should see what's going on at the church. And I'm thinking, how would anybody even know where the church?
Back in the day, like, how would anyone know? No social media, no internet.
They knew she was in town in Carmel. But we spent an entire day looking for a very special church.
Yeah. Yeah.
But actually with Andre Agassi, who flew in, and we had our own meeting, just me and him.
Just separate.
I was like, because she was on Suddenly Susan. She had a really cute show. And anyway, so the security says, get ready. And I'm like, he goes, there's cherry pickers and everything. And I'm thinking, what the hell
what do you
is
mean?
a cherry picker?
Is that a tennis term?
But it's like a tree cutter thing. So
and those come up.
Yes.
Because they're so desperate for the image.
Oh, back then it was even, it's still big.
It's bad
but
today.
Now then it was bad today, whatever.
Yeah.
But, now it's dangerous.
Yes.
Then it wasn't as dangerous. So I thought, oh my God, what are we going to do? And came up with this idea. The location had a yellow Rolls. I think it was yellow. So a big
a Rolls Royce car. Yeah.
But big. And I said to security, let's put a piece of tulle hanging out of the door.
So that you could pretend.
Because there was paparazzi at the beginning of this.
I see.
This
of the
place.
property. Yeah.
Yes. Why can't I think of? I'm losing it, Joe. Totally.
It's been 30 years.
Stone Pine.
Is the venue she was married.
You.
Stone Pine, yeah.
Yes, and they're making a comeback now. Stone Pine.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they drove out of the property. They turned right. We came out in a little Toyota that she did. Yes.
Oh my God, like an everyday car.
She was so funny.
Yeah.
She was so cool.
Yeah.
She still is, but she's so funny. And we turned left.
And they all followed the Rolls.
They followed her, but there were still people at the.
Yeah.
And then later learned that they're so used to it. I was more nervous.
Intense about it than them.
But she came out and, she says, look, if they weren't here, you know what I mean? Like
none of us would have a job.
Right,
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
at the end of the day,
and I learned a lot from that. And then from that wedding, I find that once you do a wedding that people trust you, whether it's celebrity or not.
Yep.
There's clicks. You did my friend's wedding.
And you're sort of in a circle of people who...
Exactly, and that's what happened in that world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that sort of kicked it off in your career.
Yes.
And you're what age at that point?
So I had Jesse in 1990.
Okay.
And I was...
This is 97.
30.
30, okay.
So what?
Yeah. Young.
I was young. I was still in my young 30s.
Yeah, which, you have to be in order to do energetically that much work.
Which I'm really learning now. Thank you, Jove.
You are young. You're 36,
Thank you.
37.
Oh, my God. But it's so true.
So from there, did you build a big team? Did you decide... you wanted to focus on certain kinds of weddings, or how did you sort of build the business?
Yeah, I didn't even know that we were headed towards weddings.
Yeah.
Because we do all types. We always did all types of events. I was the bar and bat mitzvah queen for so long.
That was your world.
Yeah, that's all I pretty much knew.
Yeah.
And then sprinkle in a wedding
here and there.
But then it became just wedding interviews. Like people were coming in for weddings.
Yeah.
And we were taking more and more weddings. And then not as many bar and bat mitzvahs. But what is really funny now, Jove, is that all my brides and grooms have 13-year-olds. And they're back. I'm doing bar and bat mitzvahs again.
But that has to also feel pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That you did their wedding and now you're doing their children's.
And their kids think it's so cool.
Of course.
But also it's mostly, I survive on my legacy clients.
Yeah.
That's where I survive and where...
And they keep coming back, and that's where that's the core of your
business. And you know them.
Yes.
Part of our job is learning about the client.
Yeah.
Who
they really are.
Who they are, their quirks.
Yep.
Financially.
Their priorities.
All their,
How much they will really spend versus how much they want to spend.
Exactly. And, and I know them and they know me and they know how I work, which is half the battle right there. Because even when I'm interviewed, I go, just so you know, you'll think I'm not listening, but I'm listening.
I see and hear
I see it all.
Everything.
Yes.
And I think that's an interesting thing. I think for young wedding planners in the industry or anyone, there's this desire to work with celebrities. But I feel like it can go one of two ways. Like it can be your circle of people that becomes your career, or it can be the kiss of death because then the people who are your clients think they cannot afford you.
100%.
Right?
You were right on. Or they think I don't have time for them. Or that I'm going to drop them if a bigger name comes
along.
Which would never happen.
No.
And I say to them, I go, I'm somewhat of a normal person.
Yeah.
My office can do it.
Yeah.
And if not, I'm very meant to be.
Yeah.
I'm a meant to be person.
Yeah, if it happens, it was meant to be.
Exactly.
If not.
But I really feel people always say, how do you get celebrities? Well, I'm in LA. I'm in Hollywood.
And you've been here for a long time.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah. It was an organic process for you.
Yeah.
It is interesting because people, they love it and they want it and they crave it. And then I also, and maybe you can share or not share, I find some celebrities are lovely and generous and kind, and others don't pay very much for their wedding.
Yes.
And I think people are surprised to learn that.
Yes.
Like a lot of vendors will throw their services at low or no cost, and even planners because they want so badly to be connected with that.
And I've been lucky. I've been paid for all.
What? Cheers?
Yes.
Cheers to being
that.
paid to
and
work.
I will tell you from one of my celebrity clients, she said to me, I would rather pay you and not owe you anything.
Oh, interesting.
Than have to say, okay, we'll do this for you. She goes, I want to pay.
Yeah.
I want you to work hard for me. Because there's always resentment.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yeah.
If you're not, believe it or not, even at my age, and I'm getting up there.
39.
I have resentment. I still want celebrities. I still want the high-end clients.
Of course.
That's what I want.
That's the world you've worked hard
and
for.
I could be a little more creative.
Yep.
Actually, if the budget's not as high, you have to be more creative.
You have to think outside the box.
You have to think of how am I going to elevate it.
Yeah.
Because it's still our names.
Yes, it's still your event.
Yes. And I try to explain that to people who work with me in my office that I don't care. You know, they cut the napkins. We're doing the napkins.
Yes.
You know, just give it up because of,
it's my name on the door.
Because of Instagram, too.
Honestly, yes.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. It still has to look a certain way.
100%. It's your brand. It's your legacy. You're not going to put it in the world.
And they all know me.
And if you don't put it on Instagram, sometimes couples feel, they're like, why isn't... You didn't like our it's like very personal now.
Yes, and they notice. Well, what I meant is why they all know me is my clients know me, not people know me. But the clients know that it's typically more than what they expect. That, you know, they're like, oh. And they appreciate the fact that they dreaded having to eliminate something.
Yes.
I'm trying to not use the word cut anymore.
Oh, eliminate is the new word.
Eliminate. They had to eliminate something.
Yes, they had, and downgrade's not a good word. Eliminate also feels harsh for me, like you've been eliminated from the wedding.
But cut is more, to me, the cut. Or we just had to make decisions.
Yes,
you know,
hard choices.
Hard choices. That's better.
Yeah, hard choices.
And if I can, and if I can afford it, I try to
do it.
I do, you know.
And for your clients, is there a budget minimum, or how do you vet a potential client? Like, if I want you to do my wedding, is it minimum $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million?
This has been a really hard, this is reality, Joe.
Yes.
I have, believe it or not, extremely hard time with budgets.
Interesting.
Of self-worth.
Yep.
Me. It's really bizarre because I am a people pleaser.
We all are. I think to be in this industry,
you have to be
you must be a people pleaser.
And there's wonderful people in the industry that have lectured me. During
You've heard
COVID, they all called me, and you know, we have to be on the same
page.
Yes, we have to. And I go, But now we are charging a percentage, which, believe it or not, is still new.
We do it as well.
Yes.
It's changed the game for me.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Because you kind of already know what you're going...
Well, we know.
Right.
They don't know.
Right. But at least we know... You know, okay, it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm exhausted. I could hire this many people.
The resentment goes away when you're paid for what you do.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
And I found out too late.
Yes.
So if you event planners out there are listening, learn early.
Learn early.
Yes, because if I learned, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. I would be on my yacht.
We retired.
Out somewhere in the sea. Okay.
Yeah, so was this a new recent thing to move to percentage? Yeah. Before that, you were a flat fee.
Flat fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was actually too busy because everybody was charging a percentage.
I see.
And
so then they'd come to you because you were the value plus the name.
Yes, and they knew it was a flat fee.
Yes.
So they knew going in, okay, we're paying her this much.
And that's what it is.
And that's what it is.
Yeah. And I understand psychologically. I think when I started doing percentage, we had a rough first year because I think I wasn't confident in it, so I couldn't sell it right.
Right.
And then when I found the footing in the word, the clients came naturally.
Yes.
And that anger and resentment that we sort of talked about disappeared. I didn't mind staying up till 2 a.m. editing something for the 14th time.
Right.
Because I knew I was being compensated correctly. I was being valued.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, and I have fewer clients. I love them more. And I'm making more money. Like it was a game changer.
And also, I have 10, I don't like to call them employees, but
I was going to ask how large your team is. Okay.
10 members.
Team members.
Team members.
You plus 10.
Yes. And they feel better about it. They applaud me when it comes out of my mouth.
Yes.
They're like, I hang up the phone, they go, high five!
Yeah,
you know,
we did it.
I mean, but isn't it the perception of me, because I'm fortunate enough to have some cool clients.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
But who are now, you know, like family members.
Yes.
And then who I really am.
Yeah.
You know. And when they interview me, Joe, for a job, I explain to them that I have 3 children, 3 grandchildren. If they call during a meeting, I pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So if they're not comfortable with that, I respect
not going to work. Sure.
But I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And
That's
they have to accept
still your
it.
priority from day one.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I'll be no good to them knowing that one of them called.
And you didn't answer, and you weren't available for them.
You have to answer the phone.
Yeah. That's your priority.
It
but
is.
You're clear about it from the beginning.
Yes.
And they know what they're getting into.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So what does it work in your team? Obviously, you can't do every single wedding,
Right.
but you have a team that, your team members.
Right.
Are there different tiers, like work directly with Mindy, work with our team? Like, how does that process work for couples? Or clients, because you do all events.
Right. When we get called to do a job and I'm already booked, we offer them the team. A lot of the times they still don't trust it, but I explain to them that they're so much better than me.
Yes. And you've trained them all.
But also, I design every event.
Okay.
My hand is in everything. And I can go to the meetings, but I can't go to the event.
Yes.
So if they're comfortable with that, it's still the same price.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I was lowering, but we're still working so hard. And
and you're pouring yourself into it.
And I'm still
And you're still
there.
thinking about, I don't think clients realize how much we think about them.
Yes.
The space they take up in our head, in our heart, in our body.
Yes.
Every time I'm out to eat, every time I travel, when I'm on vacation for myself, I'm thinking about clients.
Really? How does that feel, Joe?
You know what I mean? Like, and for you,
really,
it's a wild thing.
And even if you tell your clients you're going out of town, they'll still call.
Yes.
And that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And I do have friends in the industry that will not pick up the phone.
Yeah. They train their clients, or they try.
I'm just not that person.
Yeah.
Because it could be a very simple question.
Sure.
How many people fit at a 60-inch round?
Yeah.
That's it.
But it could be an hour.
It could, but at that point I go, I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I'll
You're
talk
just
to you.
honest with them.
And I am, but I will answer it. And my husband's used to it. My family's used to it.
Yeah.
It's just a thing.
Yeah.
And my grandkids now.
Yeah.
Their birthdays are
Number one.
Quite a, but now the two olders are now old enough to give me a list of what they want.
Stop for their birthdays.
My 8-year-old going on 9, granddaughter.
Going on 15.
No. 40.
Oh my God.
She told me I should ombre my lips the other day. I go, ombre my lips?
Wow.
Yes, I watched it on YouTube, Gigi.
Oh my gosh.
No, she is over, and
Yeah.
she is planning this sleepover slumber party at my house, But
She's planning, but you're producing?
oh yeah, she's given me the list. She has,
She has a theme,
visuals,
decor, all of
everything's
it.
Taylor Swift. We're
I
going,
love it.
and I'm going
All in.
because this is how.
Yes.
This is where it's
Yeah.
not. I love you. This is what I can do. I go.
course.
This is what Gigi can do.
This is what I'm here for,
Yes,
and this is
yeah.
what I want to do.
So whatever they want.
A Taylor Swift party.
Yeah.
Would you want that wedding? Do you think she's going to marry Travis Kelce?
I hope she's found love.
Mm.
I've met Travis. He's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I get what I'm supposed to get.
Yeah.
So whoever gets, I never met her. I'm imagining her to be delicious.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun when people call.
Sure.
And when someone else gets it, I have a little twinge, do you?
Of course.
I have a little twinge.
Of course.
But that's where they're supposed to be.
Yes.
I'm convinced
I agree with you.
that it wasn't for me. And then you find out later why it wasn't for you.
100%.
Yes.
I had
Yes.
that happen, and there was the cringe, a little jealousy.
Yes.
And it was like someone, I don't even know them. I don't know why, but in my mind, like that was going to be my wedding.
Right.
And I don't think that about a lot of people,
Yeah.
but that was the one. And someone else did the wedding. Of course, I watched every story.
Of course.
Oh
my
then
God,
I had
yes.
dinner with that planner, and I was like, tell me everything. And
Yes.
she was like, honestly? And I was like, yes. She's like, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
They yelled at me the whole time. My team was miserable. I almost quit my career. And I was like,
See?
thank you, universe.
And that's what happens.
Yeah, like
know?
it wasn't.
Like a lot of people ask me what drugs I'm on because I'm typically extremely calm.
This is your
and
energy at a wedding.
This is it.
Yeah.
And I joke and I
Even
sing
keeled.
and I sing in walkies and people are so confused, especially when I go to New York.
Yeah. That's not the energy they
No.
expect.
No, and they
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah.
There's a lot of laugh. But the truth is, I have a bad stomach. I know what's going on. I'm
Yeah.
not naive
Yes.
to what is happening.
Sure.
And it's a difficult, I'm overthinking everything.
Yep. Overanalyzing.
That people are underthinking. We got to find that middle space where we're thinking together.
Yes.
Because I try to stay away and come in on a Thursday of a setup, and they're all like, oh, God, here she comes.
Because you're going to see things they haven't seen.
But I'm going to teach them why.
Yes.
I'm not going to yell, and I'm going to go, oh, my God, you guys, napkins have to be straight on the plate.
Yep.
Because they're going to take that one picture and the napkin.
Of that one napkin.
Of that one. No,
how do photographers always find
I don't know.
the one
or
imperfect
a crooked
napkin?
chair.
Yes.
I just don't.
Did you not see that in your? I mean, literally, this is
It's so
100%.
Or the fork that wasn't.
Yes.
Why?
The jostled fork when you had all the possible forks.
Why?
I don't know, but
Yes.
it's literally wild to me.
But I think now in our industry, there are such creative,
Yes.
talented.
Yeah.
I am so inspired.
Yeah.
Like there's a handful, including you, that are just trying new things.
Pushing the boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, we don't have to, but I suggest that we produce our client's dream.
Of course. That's the job.
You know, you have
Yes.
to be a good listener.
Yeah.
But if you could just tweak it a little so they don't even notice that
Correct.
we have done our
Correct.
own plan here.
Yes.
But wow, I am so proud of our industry.
It's
and,
wild
oh
what's
my
happening.
God, it's so beautiful.
And it's
so
inspiring to see, I think, for all couples that
Mm-hmm.
finally a wedding doesn't have to look like this or be like this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it can be whatever you want. I say all the time, as long as there's food and drink, everything else is flexible.
Yes.
And they're like, you don't really mean that. And I'm like, I do.
Oh.
If you want to walk into the ceremony or you want to have dinner, then it doesn't matter.
As long as it's there.
Yes, as
And
long
then-
as it's there and as long as the people in the room love you and support you. Like what you do on your wedding day has no bearing on the success of your marriage.
Yes. And we are only responsible for the wedding day, not
The marriage.
I want people to know. People always say to me, oh my God, are you upset they got divorced? Of course I'm upset.
Yes.
I'm a normal person.
Of course, you're
But
sad.
I wasn't
Has
in
nothing
their
to
bed.
do with me.
I wasn't giving
Correct.
them therapy.
Correct.
You know, I just
Correct.
It's just that they stand out, but there's so many people
There's so many
who
that
don't
do.
make it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you find though, I mean, the wedding planner therapy stereotype is very real.
Oh my God.
Like
It
we are in the
is.
middle of some conversations that sometimes I've excused myself now. It's a new thing.
Yes.
I say, I'm going to use the restroom while you finish this
Right.
conversation.
No, I stay right in it.
Oh, you want it all?
Oh my God.
You want to hear it all?
I think I could have been a therapist.
Yes.
I
you
think
have the
I-
energy of a therapist. I'd lay on a couch
Yes.
and talk to you for an hour.
I think I could, and I do listen
Yeah.
because it's real and there is pain or there's happiness, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
whatever it is. You know, I like to hear the story because
Yeah.
I like to bring it in. This weekend, I'm doing this wedding
Mm-hmm.
that she's an up-and-coming artist.
Okay.
He is delicious. He owns this film lot that's just a big open space
Yep.
far in the valley.
I love it.
The valley, far in the valley. But it's, you know, I did her other two sisters' weddings. I don't think she would have hired me, but her dad and mom love me.
Yep.
And she loves it, but I'm not her.
Her vibe.
I think her vibe was, how is she going to pull it off? She's
Because she wants something different than what she thinks you do often.
yes.
Yeah.
It is just so bizarre.
I love it.
And so cool.
I love it.
And, you know, she's wearing Vivienne Westwood. You know, she's got
She's got
taste
a
and
style.
she came from, you know, same places,
Yeah.
you know, her sisters and all that. But it's really cool and different.
Yeah.
And that's what excites me.
Yeah. It's doing something new.
Because, you know, the fabric's mustard. You know, I want to hang mustard fabric. How many places can you do
Who will let you do
mustard?
that? Yeah, 100%.
So, you know, it's not all my taste.
Yeah.
There's some, you know, random stuff going on, but it's different.
Yeah,
And
it's
gonna
pushing you in
be
a creative
freezing
way.
cold. And, you know, one thing she wanted to do, and I get it, she says, Mindy, I want to buy all vintage furs, and because it's going to
Okay.
be really cold for the after party. And, of course, in my head, I'm just thinking, vintage coat rack, with all different kind of furs.
How to style it.
How to style the picture.
Of course, the experience.
They can take what they want, but not till I get this
moment.
Coat rack of vintage furs.
With the right hangers.
And, I'm going to get all the PETA people. I'm going to get lots of
Even though it's vintage, but yes.
But they're there. Don't waste someone's...
Yes.
I
think vintage is fine, but I understand it all. But this is going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be gorgeous, but there's moments of such that's
surprise
different.
And delight.
And the new trend of the flowers, people think of me of over-the-top flowers, but I'm always trying to minimize.
Minimize?
Wait,
say that again.
I know.
You're trying to minimize?
I do try, I swear.
Mindy.
But I do what the client wants.
For sure.
But now, the interesting flowers, the minimal look of flowers, which I'm getting calls for now, which is...
You're excited. You're like, I've been trying to tell you this for years.
So it's not really about the flowers so much as it's just about the vibe of the guests.
Yeah.
Because it's very interesting.
And that's what you're channeling.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And for me, that's the joy. It's like each couple brings a different spice, a different flavor.
Gosh.
And if you can distill that down and then put it back in their wedding...
Oh, my gosh.
That's the fun.
Yes.
Nobody wants a repeat wedding that's exactly like Pinterest or exactly like a wedding in a magazine.
Yes. And we do get a lot of Pinterest.
I'm sure.
It's nice to start from there.
Yes.
Because then I know
inspiration.
I know what I'm in for.
Yeah.
I know from one flower.
Yes.
I know.
How do you politely tell someone we're not going to do this? Like, how do you guide them? Like, I want this wedding, whether you did it or someone else did it. Because now you kind of know who did these weddings. You know what I mean? Like, there are signatures of which, I could look at Instagram without even seeing it. I'm like, that's a so-and-so wedding. That's a so-and-so wedding.
Yes.
But how do you gently guide that or strongly guide that person to say, great, but no?
Yes. I don't say no. I say, oh my God, I've done that before. It didn't work. But if we do it this way, it could be really cool.
Yeah.
And obviously I'll do it that way, but I'm telling you, I did it and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I think it's a process. When they first show me, I'm all in.
Of course.
And
You're supportive.
slowly, until we get to the setup, and they see that.
The mock-up, yeah.
And they see that it's kind of, maybe that wasn't what I want.
Yep. And are you prepared with like option A or B or but here's...
Always.
Yeah. Where you
because
kind of
I don't
want
to leave a meeting. There have been meetings where you're kind of like, I'm going to get a call. I'm going to get a call.
Yes. Yes.
But I really try to finish the meeting.
Yeah.
So are you happy? And even if they're so happy and giddy, it could be the next day they go, I've been thinking.
Looking at my photos.
I've been thinking, what if, we go with a whole new color palette.
My favorite is the I've been thinking, and I have to say, who have you been talking to?
Yes.
Who have you been showing? Because when it was just us girlfriends in the room, we were in love.
It, yeah.
And you left, and
So
some bird
true.
came in your ear. And who is that bird?
Right.
And what is their taste? And why do we listen to what they have to say?
But I do listen, and I let it stew for a minute.
Yeah.
And typically we end up right back
where you were. But there's just a moment of second guessing.
They've hired us to do what they want.
Correct.
There are some event planners out there that will not do what the client wants because they have a look, style, color.
And that's it.
That's their vibe.
That's their brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And respect it. Good for them that they get away with it.
100%.
But I honestly, and I'm humble pie, but I feel I can do any look.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to change it up.
You've been pushing the boundaries. You did a wedding, I think at maybe the Beverly Hills Hotel with the fabric entrance.
Oh, yes.
That was... I just I kept just staring. And this was like a year or so ago before fabric has been, now fabric is
weird.
Is everywhere.
Yes.
But
That
it was
one
the
thing,
draping
that birthday
was
we
beautiful.
did for, Chloe did for Kim, that one birthday party. And we tried, I call it parachute draping,
Yep.
Who knew?
Yeah.
I thought we were going up in smoke. I went out, I had them go buy, fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
Because it was all candles and all fabric.
Yes.
It was,
and it
I'm
could go
sure that fabric was not fire.
100,
I didn't want to
100%.
light up that.
And someone always
in LA,
kicks a candle.
Oh my God.
Always.
I was exhausted. It wasn't a hard party.
Yeah.
I was exhausted watching the candles.
Yes.
Just watching.
Every event, you hear it, and it's always someone in a heel or someone in a shoe. I'm like, how did you not? There's 1,000 candles.
Yes.
How did you not see it?
And I hear.
So that fabric wasn't flame retardant?
I don't think it was.
Yeah. Probably not.
For sure, but
Yeah.
I don't, because it wasn't in a venue. It was
So you
in
didn't
an
require the
office,
certificate.
So nobody
Yeah.
was coming.
Yeah.
But that fabric, that sort of went viral, which was shocking. You know, it was just Andrew in my office who had this vision.
Yeah.
And he couldn't be there that night. So I walk in, I go, oh my God, Andrew. Oh my God.
You're fired.
Oh, I love him. But that, you know, so certain things I think are going to be so big.
And they're not. They're a flop.
Flop.
Yeah. And then you try something that you're unsure about and it takes off.
Yes.
Isn't that wild?
Just crazy what people resonate towards. And, you know, and people don't think that we have to think about if a client says, I want salt on the table.
Yeah.
Well, what am I putting that salt in?
Or on.
Or on.
Yep.
It's just a lot of thoughts.
There's a million decisions with every request.
There's a lot of thoughts.
There's a lot of thoughts.
Yes.
So when did you you knew Chris from your stationery store in the 80s, and then when did you start circling back with events with them and the family?
8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
That was it. It
Just
was
kind of popped up, or?
actually, Kanye went to a wedding we did, Kanye and Kim.
Yeah.
And Kanye said, what about this girl? And Kim goes, oh,
Stop.
my God, she used to braid my hair when
I've known
I
her
was
since
young.
I was
You know,
born. Yeah.
I did her first birthday party.
Got it.
So he goes, well, let's try that.
Yeah.
And it was Chris's 60th birthday party. And I knew what Chris liked.
Yeah.
Because
You've known Chris for years.
And I it was a Gatsby theme. But I kind of brought back a little bit of the 80s of Party Favors.
Yep. A little gaudy, but a little,
It was completely over. Like, I knew. I just knew it.
Yes.
And from there, that's when it all started.
Yeah. And she knew, and she could trust you, and you're in
she
sync.
walked in and she just gave me the look. I go,
That was it. Yeah.
I know. It was just brought us back.
Yeah.
You know, she is very traditional, believe it or not.
Interesting.
And things spark joy with her. And we're on the same page with that.
You speak the same language.
And I know you guys are going to go, what? I love them. I love each one of them differently.
Yeah, it's a different relationship. They're all different people.
And kinder than kind. Loving.
Which is the best thing to hear.
And the most important thing is they love each other. That's how my family is.
Yeah.
We love to be together.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're watching.
Yeah.
They love each other.
And that's beautiful.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think you would continue this many years if there wasn't respect and love and joy. You don't need to, and B.
And I think I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But there's only, seriously.
Yeah.
Please, thank you.
Yeah.
Afterwards, thank you. You know.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's truly how they were raised and their kindness.
And who they are. Yeah. And these events are not, nothing about them is simple. I mean, they keep getting
well, they each
the
have
next
their
one
own
and the
taste.
next one. 100%.
They each have their own look and taste and
vibe
expectations.
and style. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think, I mean, they've set so many trends in fashion, in life, in cosmetics, in surgery, in hair, in beauty, in
everything.
Do you think also in events
Absolutely.
now as well, people are wanting that aesthetic, that
they
style?
They love to look. Everybody loves to look. And they come up with the ideas, by the way.
Interesting.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Like Christmas,
Their ideas.
Christmas?
Yeah.
They tell us, I mean, we bring in what
Sure.
we know is now
Of
available.
course.
And
Of
like,
course.
oh my God, look at this dish.
Yes.
They laugh at me.
Yeah.
Because, well, Chris is a dishaholic.
Because she's classic in that way.
Oh, no, she loves dishes. She loves dishes.
I
but
love
if
it.
there's a new dish, like we
She
bring
needs to
it.
know.
And the girls, they,
Yeah.
you know,
But it comes from them.
I'm telling you, it all comes
I love
from
that.
each one. They know what they want,
Yeah.
and it's our job to present to them what I can do
how
with
that
what they want.
translates in an event, like in a real scenario.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so for people who can't access you for their wedding, either you're booked, you're out of their budget, you offer 2 different ways. I mean, many ways. They can follow you on Instagram for inspiration. But you have a wedding planning book. You have many books, but you have a wedding planning book.
I have the wedding book, which has been out for
a while
long
now.
time. And but it took 5 years, and we
for
updated
you to write it.
Yes.
Wow.
And we've updated it once, like with Ubers and, like all that kind of stuff.
All the things that have changed.
And it's still, I get lovely notes.
Yeah.
And sometimes people post it. And, and then I have an organizer book for keepsake
Got
stuff.
it.
But those 2 are important. And then I did a master class.
I was just going to say,
Who knew?
I mean, but who else was going to do it?
I think I must have been complete. They asked me once, and I go, oh, my God, I'm so busy.
You said no. Yeah.
But then they asked again, I go, I think I should do this.
Yes.
But
you have so
laugh.
many years of experience.
The script they had was like this book. It was 2 12-hour days.
And you're reading from a monitor?
No. What they do, they kept saying, Mindy, we have to review this with you. We have to. I go, what they do is they ask you questions. And I said, if I can't answer every question in that
From
book,
here.
I am not a master.
Correct.
Well,
Correct.
they were very nervous. Very. Because I just
no
didn't
control.
have the time to sit. It was huge.
And preview all of that.
I go, I promise, And then with my first words, I had to come in and say, hi, I'm Mindy Weiss, and this is my master. And they go, oh,
she's got it.
Yeah.
She's
so
good.
It was a great experience. Yeah. Really great.
So it's 2 full days of filming.
2 12-hour days, and that was it.
And people can purchase the video series and learn from you how to plan their own wedding.
Yes, and it's not, an elevated wedding. It's just the basic, let's do this.
Nuts and bolts.
Let's do this. It kind of guides you on your way, and then you yourself can fill in everything. Even for planners,
who are starting or learning. Because before and even now, there wasn't, you figure it out on your own. I didn't go to school. I didn't meet someone. No one showed me the ropes. You just kind of figure it out.
There's just great opportunity.
Yeah.
I know that every time someone does their own wedding, they think they could be an event planner.
Oh, yes.
But when you're responsible for people's memories, you have to be good.
Yeah. Period.
That's it.
It's the end of the day.
You can make or break someone's core memory.
Yeah, and it's a big one.
It's a big one.
And we love the way you do it, and I'm so grateful for your time.
Jove.
I'm so happy that you're
Thank
here.
you
I also
for
love your
having
shoes.
Me. Thank you.
These shoes.
Everyone knows I have a major shopping problem.
Okay.
But that's
Why is it a problem?
Because
it's your release.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I will be with a client at a meeting on my computer, and I'm checking.
You're shopping. Oh, you're an online shopper. You don't like to go into the stores.
I love. When do we have time to go in the stores?
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
But then I meet the salespeople. Then they send me.
They
stuff.
text you.
I just love clothes so much.
Who are your top 3 brands that you're loving
right now?
Right now, because it always ebbs and flows.
It's so changing continually. I love Loewe.
That's what your shoes.
That's what my shoes are, and I'm wearing a lot of their clothes.
Okay.
I love Co because it's good work clothes.
Got it.
Great suits and when I have to be sophisticated.
Yes.
And, my son's getting married next year.
I know that. I was going to ask, are you the mother, the planner, or both?
I am both, but the fiance, Lindsay, Deliciousness, her mother's everybody
very
will
hands-on.
be very
Everyone's
involved.
very in.
But I found a warehouse that I love in Koreatown.
Okay.
Because I wanted Hotel Bel Air, but they have too many people on their list. And Lindsay walks in, and it's just a big blank space.
Which scares people.
She just didn't. But my son, who's a producer, so he
understands.
He gave me the look. The ceiling is fabulous. I said, I'll just do a whole floor plan, and if you don't like it, we'll find. That's whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'm not that person.
You're not fussy about it.
No, but it's exciting. But I'd like to wear Dior. I'm saving up for
the wedding to wear Dior.
If Dior comes out with a beautiful gown and stuff
that you just can't not have.
That I can't. Or I'd love her to wear Danielle Franco.
Okay.
Because I think it's cool, and maybe Danielle can make me something too. I'm very into
some
her.
Options.
Yes.
I love this.
Yes.
I love this. I love that you love your family so much.
Oh.
I love that dream you had from the beginning is still there. And number one, despite
and
everything else.
I'm hopefully not going anywhere. Everyone keeps saying, when are you going to retire? What am I going to do?
I was going to ask. I don't see you sitting on an island drinking a pina colada.
I don't drink either.
Yeah,
I should. At all.
Okay, so nothing.
I should.
Yeah.
I've tried it.
Just don't like the flavor profile or just not for you?
A little sake with sushi maybe.
Okay.
But
that's a crazy night.
That's a crazy night. And my kids go, whoa.
Mom.
What are you doing? No, I just, I got a lot to do.
Yeah.
I have a lot to do.
Yeah. Busy. Well, where can people find you?
Well, of course, on Instagram.
Yep, at Mindy Weiss.
At Mindy Weiss, and I do it all myself, which
all
is...
All of it. You have almost 1 million followers.
Not yet. I'm in the 700.
But we're going to get you there.
I want to get there.
I know. You need the 1M.
I love...
I'm saying it now. This year's your year. You're going to get to 1 million.
Oh, my God. That
it's
would
gonna
be
happen.
Amazing.
Let's make it happen. Follow.
I love it. I love sharing.
Yeah.
People say, well, what do you do when you see your things? I go, oh, I'm so flattered.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
It's very exciting that people love it enough to share it.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to wonder how you have enough time in the day.
It's a weird thing.
Because the DMs you must receive
it's
are
a
numerous.
Weird thing. It's just, I don't know. I so enjoy it.
It's your connection to people in a different way.
People come out that I've known in my past.
Yeah.
And I just...
I
knew your mother, or I know, and I go, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
I love that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, for your
you.
joy.
I hope
and
you
I
have
can't wait to keep
fun
watching
in
the
LA.
magic you make. Oh,
Thank you.
I will.
Yes.
Be well.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Yes.
Weddings-ish.
When the time comes, you deserve a diamond ring that looks bigger, brighter, and more beautiful. It should be responsibly sourced and made just for you. Kwiat introduces Mine to Shine, the world's most personal diamond. It's a brand new experience that allows you to choose an ethically and sustainably mined rough diamond and follow its journey as it becomes your one-of-a-kind ring. A diamond cut to the world's highest standards from Kwiat. Family owned and trusted for more than 100 years.
And now it's time for Ask Jove, where I answer your questions, really anything you want to know. And I couldn't be more excited to be joined in studio by my dear friend, Sloan, and we are so excited to Ask Jove.
All right, Jove, today's question's coming from Sarah from Portland,
Hi,
Oregon.
Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. My fiance and I have been debating whether to have a micro wedding or a traditional large-scale wedding. We're torn between the intimacy of a smaller celebration and the grandeur of a bigger event.
Of course.
What's your perspective on the trend of micro weddings and elopements versus more traditional large-scale weddings?
I mean, to me, I love an intimate wedding. I think if you could have a smaller wedding, a micro wedding, where you can spoil the shit out of your guests, like how fabulous. But I think the challenge is going to be, can you get your guest list down? If you're torn between a larger wedding and a tiny wedding, that's going to be your biggest issue. I mean, how many people were at your wedding?
125-ish.
Could you have gotten that to 40?
That would have been really hard.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, would those cuts have affected you and your husband?
I think that we wouldn't have been able to include so many of the people that are a part of our lives now.
Yeah.
We got married in Austin, Texas, but we lived here in New York. And it was really important for us to have some of our friends that we made up here that are now lifelong and very dear friends of ours
to come to the wedding.
And I was actually just thinking of this the other day, how amazing it was to look through a photo album recently and see their faces and just think back on how we made those friendships in our adult life as opposed to just the friendships that we had when we were younger.
And if you had a micro wedding, you would have had to cut the fat, for lack of a better word. They wouldn't have made the list.
Right.
So I think it really depends on what you want. I think if you want a big wedding, you should have a big wedding. But if you can really do the cutting with your fiance and your family, because I don't want to overstate, like family has a lot of opinions. And the more money they give, the more weight their opinions carry. So I think there's no right or wrong. If you want to go micro, do it. But you're still planning a wedding. I want to be very clear. A small wedding is still a wedding. So you're not getting out of wedding planning. You still need a venue. You still need a caterer, a photographer, cake, hair. You'll still need all the things.
All the decisions still need to be made.
Correct. Yep. So if you're going from that angle, the work is still the same. Maybe a little less in terms of the guest count, like the budget could be a little bit less, but the work is the same. So it's really, at the end of the day, are you going to regret not having certain people there? I think we are in this conundrum, we meaning my fiance and I would love a tiny wedding. I dream of a micro wedding on a beach, 4 or 5 days, the middle of nowhere, and spoil the shit out of the people I love the most. He cannot do that. He has a guest list like bigger than our full guest list. You know what I mean? So it's not a one-person decision, and I don't think it's wrong, but you have to decide what are your priorities.
Absolutely. And I think going back to your spoiling the shit out of your guests, there's still ways that you can have intimate connections with your guests, whether that's through pre-wedding events or post-wedding events, and also just like personalized elements throughout the day.
Yeah, it's all possible. It just depends on your time, your goals, and also your skill set. You know what I mean? Like if it's overwhelming for you to have 200 people, 100 people, know that about yourself. Honor that. Like trust your gut and speak your truth. Don't go along for the ride just because you think you have to. Well, I want to know what she's going to do. Let us know
Sarah,
what you do.
Know.
Well, that's it for today. And wasn't that fun? Don't forget to send your questions. Again, any questions, send them our way to hi@jovemeyer.com and maybe I will answer them on air. If you can, send a voice memo. I love to hear your voice.
Weddings-ish.
Thank you again for listening or watching Weddings-ish with Jove. If you liked today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. We're also super grateful to Mel Flannery for the music on the podcast. She created, produced, and designed all of the music. And don't forget, you can watch Weddings-ish with Jove on Love Stories TV, YouTube, or streaming TV channel. Visit lovestoriestv.com/live for the list of streaming apps.
Weddings-ish.